Hey there, happy Monday. Welcome to this week's Member Spotlight. I'm very excited to introduce you to one of our new members. She is based in Darwin. I'm going to bring her on in just a moment. I'm Susie. I'm the CEO at Her Business. I hope you had a lovely weekend. Every Monday morning, I get the wonderful opportunity to introduce you to one of our amazing Her Business Network members. And what I love about our community is there are women in all sorts of service-based businesses, product-based businesses, women with brick and mortar stores, women with e-commerce stores, women selling low-priced items, women selling really high-priced items. What they have in common is that they're women business owners. And each of them, as they come here, not only brings a little bit of her background and gets a chance to really show up and talk about her business, but they also give you an insight into their area of expertise. So they always bring some tips and strategies that you can use in your life and in your business. So if you've just joined me here today and I can see a bunch of eyeballs here, go ahead and say hi. And if you've got any questions as we go along the way, let me know that as well. Now, just before I bring Jody up, I do want to let you know that tomorrow, so the 23rd of February, so this is Monday the 22nd as we're recording this, Tuesday the 23rd of February, we are running an online networking event for women business owners. And I want to invite you. It's absolutely free and it's something we rarely do. This is the type of event we run inside of the Her Business Network. It has a $97 value and it's yours absolutely free. It is tomorrow at 12 noon Sydney time. And I'm going to pop a URL here on the screen. This is where you get your access. So here's what we're going to be doing. You're going to learn how to confidently talk about your business. No rambling, no fumbling your words, no feeling salesy or pushy. You're going to discover how to clearly share what you do without sounding cheesy or slimy. And you're going to walk away with a clear way to talk about your offer, to talk about what it is that you sell so that you're never pulling away from the sale, but rather you're feeling confident in letting people know the amazing things you do. Plus, I know we're fitting a lot into this 90-minute session. You're going to get your most pressing business question answered because we're going to be doing some roundtable coaching. So all that is coming up tomorrow. Go ahead and grab your spot and ask Siri to remind you because this is something you definitely want to do. We've got over 200 women joining us and I hope you will join us as well. So if you've never been to one of these things, they are really, really helpful in helping get the word out about your business in a way that's really comfortable and you don't have to leave home. So that's coming up. So my guest today is Jody Foster. She's been a member of the Her Business Network for about a year, and she helps busy professionals with Darwin residential property. She'll tell you a little more about her business when we bring her on, which is right now. Hey, Jody.
And anybody watching?
Hi. Yeah, someone's saying I'm here. There's a few people watching. Now, we're using a tool called StreamYard. So if you've enabled StreamYard, I'll be able to see your name. Otherwise, it says Facebook user, which is just fine. Just fine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And as I said, go ahead and ask us questions. We are here to support you. So I sort of hinted at what you do. Would you go ahead and, it's Debbie Minette that's here. Hey, Debbie. Would you go ahead and tell us what you do and who you do it for and how you help your customers?
Yes, love to. So we help busy professionals with Darwin residential investment property. We help them manage that property so that to give them more time and energy to do what they do or be with their families. And we do that by leasing the property out and then managing any issues or queries that come up along the way.
Love it. And so what would you say your greatest area of expertise is?
So with property managers, the good ones are pretty much a jack of all trades. So we know a little bit about a lot of things and we know who to call to get the expertise in. So for mold issues, leaks, that kind of thing, we call the experts in, but we know who to call.
And you're a small business owner, you have a partner in the business you were telling me before we came on. Tell us a bit more about that ideal client. Here at Her Business, we are so big on really being clear about who you're for and who you're not for. So tell us, who is your ideal client, Jody?
Yeah, so our ideal client is actually business owners or professionals who are used to delegating tasks outside their zone of genius. So we prefer to work with people who know what they're good at and want to focus on that and then want somebody else to take care of other things. So that's who we work with. And ideally, of course, they would have to have residential investment property in Darwin. However, if you have it interstate, we do have a network of other property managers that we can refer interstate as well.
Well, that's really, really good to know because, women watching will be from all over Australia, increasingly the world, just like our membership is. And so we talked about who your ideal client is. And so as I'm talking to Jody, I'm also pointing out some things that are very important, that are conversations that we have inside of her business all the time. One, as I said, was your ideal client. The other is to really be clear about the problem that you're solving for that ideal client. And what is that in your case?
Oh, for us, it's time and energy. Absolutely, time and energy. Managing a property, people may not realize it until they take one on. If you try and manage it yourself, there's a lot of time and a lot of energy that goes into it. So that's the problem that we solve.
Right. And I'm really big. I mean, I'm a property investor. PJ and I have been investing in property since 1997. And the thing is, my primary passion is my business. It is not managing tenants or managing properties. And so we have someone who does that for us. And as business owners, one of the ways that we can create long-term wealth, certainly we can grow a business and sell a business. Some of us don't have saleable businesses, but if we can take some of the money out of our business and invest it into property, that will create a long-term income for us. And sometimes it's a passive income, sometimes it's an income that comes when you sell your property. But the reason I say that is that our role is to focus on growing and scaling our business and taking that cash and doing something with it that's going to support us in the long term. This is something I'm very passionate about, Jody, and something that I'm very, one of my mentors, Kim Kiyosaki, who is the wife of Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, taught me very early on, is that, there's going to be a point in all our businesses where we may not want to do business anymore. But when we can start to think about how we can invest, for me, it's real estate. For you, it might be something else. What we still want to do is we don't want to be suddenly in that business. We want to bring on experts like Jody to take care of that so that we can focus on growing our business. Is there anything you want to say about that?
That is how I actually got into property as well, by the way, reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
There you go. Oh, that's great. Love to have that commonality. Now, there's some pieces of advice that you find yourself giving your clients over and over again. And I know you've brought 3 of those pieces of advice for us here today.
Yes, I did. So the first one is that leasing is often a balancing act between maximizing your return and minimizing your risk, and they sort of pull in opposite directions. So when you're leasing out a property, just keep in mind that the tenants who are offering the most rent are not always your best option. So when you're leasing things out, obviously you're thinking with an investment mind and you're thinking I have to maximize this return, but just bear in mind that there are a number of other things that you need to take into account, like references, that sort of thing, their employment. So that's something that a lot of people do stumble on when they're new to investing.
Right.
The second one is that value is what you're looking for when you're spending money. So whether you're employing a property manager, using a contractor, getting the property painted or advertised, you want value, not cheap. Right. Cheap will cost you more in the long run.
For sure.
So if you've got a couple of quotes and you're comparing them, just make sure you're comparing the same thing. You might have to ask a number of questions to get to the bottom of it, but don't just look at the 2 and go, right, that one's cheaper, I'll go with that. Because honestly, if you're thinking that you're going to be able to get them back later to bring it up to the standard, it's not going to happen. You've got to get a good contractor in who will provide value. And so that's a really important one. And thirdly...
And obviously you're hooked up with different contractors, right? So you're putting the right people on the job.
Oh, we work with different contractors all the time. Yes. So we have we know who's good. So we can point our clients to 3 good painters in Darwin straight away. And when I mean good, I mean they do the job well and they do it for a good price. So they're not, charging a fortune, but they're also not cutting corners, watering down paint, that kind of thing that can happen if you just go for the cheapest price. Yeah. So we do have good contacts.
Great.
So the third one is that your property investment is essentially a business on its own. So you need to think of your tenants as customers. So you have to treat them the way you would like to be treated as a customer. And just know that your tenants, despite what it might say in leases about them having to understand how everything works, they don't. They're busy, they've got their own lives, they've got families, jobs, careers. So when they report a maintenance issue, it's good to have someone sort of troubleshoot with them, treat them like the clients that they are, and take that time. And that's where a good property manager will be worth a lot as well.
I love that. I love that. How good is this? This is great advice. I love it. I love it. What I want to ask you about now is your business. Now, you've been in business 9.5 years, you said to me. Yes. And what has been one of the biggest challenges or frustrations for you in growing your business?
Okay, so for growing our business, obviously, as we've just been talking about, you need to delegate out the tasks that you're not good at. And so as we've been growing, we've needed legal advice and various bits and pieces. And because we've been so busy working in the business and on it, it's been really difficult to find time to network. And so not having the right people to contact for us has actually held back some of our growth. Yeah, that's been a big problem for us.
Right. Good thing you're part of the HerBusiness Network then.
Right?
Well, we talk about networking, not in the old school way of networking that everyone kind of cringes about, but in how do I show up in the right places? Where do I speak up in order to make the right contacts? How do I build a network of people around me? How do I make those connections that are going to help me find the right suppliers, find the right trades, find the right marketing support, create my website, do all those things. So, and we find quite often actually, Jody, that when women come to us, the problem they're trying to solve is that they're isolated and they don't have those connections and they don't know how to get those connections. And sometimes they think that they have to turn up at all these networking events and hand out business cards, and that's not it at all. We have our 3-part system that we teach inside of Her Business, which those of you who are coming to the networking event tomorrow, you're going to get a sneak peek at. But making connections, and that's not just customers, prospects, referrals, collaborators. It's also just having like-minded people that you can run ideas by, who can be a sounding board for you. And I know that you've taken advantage of one of the main ways that we support women to have that sounding board inside of Her Business, and that is you are part of one of our peer-to-peer goals groups. So tell us a little bit about that, because you said to me again before we came on that joining the goals groups, our peer-to-peer accountability groups, was one of the main things that you were looking forward to when you joined Her Business.
Yes, it was. And how you described networking is how I always envisaged it too. And I no, thank you. This experience has been the complete opposite of that. So yes, one of the main reasons that I joined was to become part of a goals group. I was a bit nervous, to be honest, because I thought there's going to be all these, super experienced ladies, and I'm going to feel a little bit, behind the 8 ball. But I got put into a group with 5 other amazing ladies. Yes, they are amazing. They are incredible, but they're all so supportive. And honestly, in this last year, especially 2020 in particular, it's been such a big part of my year and also theirs. Some of them were involved in travel, and one has a business that's heavily reliant on racing, and they just closed down. And this group has been so amazing. We've been able to pass on referrals, but also help each other out. So, for example, I went spotlight shopping, not my bag, but for the lady who does millinery. Just because she was having issues with people with freight, getting sort of freight into town at the time, and that was awesome. And they have helped me in so many ways too. So I could probably just
I love that.
But it's been great.
Well, the goals groups are one of the things that when women join and they see this, it's like, I can't believe, 1, that you include it inside the membership, and 2, how valuable it is to have your own little round table of people who are really committed to helping you set your goals and get your goals. And like you said, be that pillar of support for you, especially over the last year where it's been a little up and down. And like you said, there's trouble with freight coming in for the woman who makes hats. There's someone else in travel who now has to pivot their business. There's people having, sick children, or, someone in their family passes away, or someone else, they're in lockdown in Melbourne. They have to close the doors, so it's so good to have people that can be there for you. So I'm so glad that they were there for you and you for them. And I want to also thank you for being the leader of that group and really showing up in that way. So tell us, even though you're in Darwin, you have said you have a network of people around the country that you can refer people to. If people do want to find you, I'm going to put a link here of your email address. If you want to reach out and get some advice or support from Jody, that's the place to go. But tell us a little more about your products and services so that those watching can know that they can avail themselves of something that's really useful for them and their property.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about our business in order to do that. So we're a small business by design. We're run by it's myself and another property manager, so it's just the two of us. We have a capped portfolio, and what that means is we don't just keep listing forever and ever.
Right.
We keep it capped so that we know that we can maintain a level of service. We're very hands-on, so we will do, as I was talking about before, we'll do troubleshooting with tenants. We'll go to the property and check things out if necessary. Sorry, I could talk for hours on this, and distill it down into a useful couple of sentences. But effectively, we're a small team, and we cap our workload. We are friendly, and we're happy to help, and we're happy to go out to properties and check things out, which isn't normal. It's not necessarily what always happens.
Love it. I love it. And that personal service is so important because, you know, when someone has a property or 2 properties or 10 properties, it's really important that they be taken care of because that's your livelihood, that's your children's inheritance, that's your future. So I love that you're that hands-on. I also know, though, that you understand the people growth zone and leveraging. And you mentioned earlier your customers are people who are looking to not do the jobs that are not in their zone of genius. And no, similarly for you, you know, I'm sure that's something that you think about as well is, you know, for you to be able to offer that and maintain that level of service, how can you continue to take yourself out of the things perhaps in the business that don't require your attention and time? I want to thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful having you here. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
Sorry?
Is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
Look, if you're on the fence and thinking about joining, it's been amazing for me. I was a bit nervous to start with, but no regrets.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, that is the wonderful Jody Foster. And as she said, she can help you out, even if you're not living in Darwin, but certainly if you know people in that part of our wonderful country, you want to go ahead and touch base with her. Now, tomorrow, we have our networking event. And even if you're not kind of the networker, and I'm not, I run this organization, I am not a person who turns up at networking events. I'm the first one to suddenly be really, really busy on my phone answering that text. So tomorrow is really something a little bit different and something that we're very, very proud of. It is a way for you to, one, I'm going to give you our formula for talking about your business in a way that has you feel really comfortable, that you're letting people know who you're for and who you're not for, the problem you solve and who you serve. We're going to be doing some brainstorming and breaking out into small groups. And even if you're shy and introverted, know that this is facilitated. My priority is to have it feel safe and comfortable for you, even if you're not used to getting yourself out there. I'm really asking you to trust me. I know some of you are like, oh, that sounds scary. And, you know, Jody said something really important. Sometimes we can go into a group of other business owners and we think, I'm going to be so way behind. And the truth is our community is built on lifting each other up. It's built on support. In fact, lift up is one of our 3 core connection moves. I'll explain what that is tomorrow. But lifting each other up, knowing that when I'm in a group of like-minded women, I can ask a question and there's someone who's already been there or someone who's going through that. And someone might be a few steps ahead of me, but I might be a few steps ahead of them when it comes to another aspect of business. Maybe you're really good at sales or people or money or planning, and someone else might be better at creating lead magnets or technology. It doesn't matter. We're a wonderful, like-minded community. I hope you'll join us tomorrow. If you want to join, it is a $97 event. It's free. It's tomorrow. It's a $97 value, but it is free for you. It's on tomorrow at 12 noon Sydney time, and that is the place to go ahead and sign up. I will see you there. Have a great week. Bye for now.